I think maybe this is potentially closer to more applicable to the more people listening to this. What about for the right out of college, the 22 to 28 that doesn't have oodles of cash to go spend on ButcherBox, Blue Apron, HelloFresh, what have you, wants to eat more sustainably, doesn't have a lot of time? I mean, like, let's go ahead and add in all the environmental factors here for somebody in their mid-20s still also trying to date. You know, you talk about alcohol, you talk about whoa. What is a 25 or 26-year-old man or woman that's out of college, that's in their first job, that's trying to have a social life, do about food that doesn't make $200,000?
Yeah. I think one of the best places you can start, and in my opinion, you can't really skip this step, because if you graduated college, you've demonstrated, ideally, you're not a dumbass. So create a budget, right? Not that having a degree means you're intelligent, but you shouldn't be a dumbass if you got out of there. So create a budget, right? And I know a lot of people that's like, oh my God, like that's daunting. But similarly with counting macros, it doesn't mean you have to become a slave to the budget, but the budget can provide you a degree of freedom. Because when you create that budget, you need to figure out what it would cost you. And you can do it a couple of ways. You can just track how much you spend when you just, free willy it. And then you can see how different it is when you build in some constraints. Whether that constraint is I can only eat out once a day, or I have a budget of $100 a week to eat out if you're a particularly commuting type of individual. But in addition to doing those things, I think it's very necessary to settle on a few different go-to things you feel confident making. And they can be simple. Like me, by God, literally oatmeal and smoothies have gotten me by for years, dog. Because it's like I can make a hell of a smoothie and I make the best oatmeal you've ever had in your life. And so having those two dishes make it so that if I'm in a pinch, I know I can do those two things.
You've got something. You don't have to go drop oodles of cash, and you don't also have to then go sacrifice something that you've been on the path of and go get something super processed, even if it is plant-based in your situation. You don't have to go do that because...
Yeah, there's options. And for everybody, like you can find things that are unique to you. I would recommend get yourself a rice cooker, right? Because unless you're one of those people who really swears that you should never touch a grain, that's on you. Maybe go read some more research papers, but grains are not going to end your life or make you foggy-brained or whatever. But just get tools is all I'm getting at that can make the process easier for you. So for me, that meant going out and getting a rice cooker so that I'm less likely to run to the Jamaican spot to get, the plantains and the rice and the piece of cocoa bread. And so that it's easy for me where I can just wash some rice off, throw it in there, throw some quinoa in there, go take a shower after workout, whatever, come back, the rice is done. Now I can also steam my broccoli on top of that. Or all I have to do at that point is saute something real quick, throw it together, then you throw some flavor on it, and boom, you have yourself a little meal. So for some people, it's a crock pot. For some people, it's a wok. You know what I mean? For some folks, it's a toaster oven. But get yourself a couple of things that are gonna make the cooking experience more enjoyable. So for some people, that means getting a good set of knives. Shout out Cutco. If I was still selling them, I'd be plugging them even harder. But get things that will make that a more fluid process for you, so that when you do need to stay at home, whether it's because you got something you need to get done and the place you used to go to is already closed, or you're on that budget end of the month where you need to save that money, it just keeps those barriers low so that it is easy for you to get into the flow and make something for yourself, whether that's, a George Foreman so you can make chicken breasts really fast. Like, there's so many options for you that can make it easier, because guess what? These restaurants, they have things and they've invested to make it way faster to make these foods. And if they can make something that's this incredible dish for you in 20 minutes time, when they're also trying to make 20 other meals for people, it's probably a reality that you could also make that meal just as fast if you just practiced it a couple of times.